Content warning. The following show contains smoking, potty mouth language, discussions of fictitious violence, and of course, a lot of complaining. All right, we're going to be complaining today. You almost had... Shut up. Just stop it. All right? It's been that kind of day. Let's just run the credits, all right? God, let's just do this. Hey guys, what is going on? Oh my god, this is like such a day. Sorry about the lateness, sorry about the lack of announcements on all of that. Just to let you guys know, let me just make sure I'm here, and yeah, that's right, because I am Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, and I want to welcome you to the Hobby Hall. Now, I'm coming at you from the Wizard's Tower, and I think I'm sitting on a toothpick. Oh, man. So, yeah, this has been a day, right? So, Hobby Hall is the show where we actually do stuff, right? We talk about doing stuff all week. We talk about games and toys, and this is the show where I tend to make things and paint miniatures and go over techniques with you guys and all of that stuff. But today's subject is apropos of the rest of the day, so we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But first, I want to make sure that you guys know that you can contact me at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up over on Twitter, Instagram, all that other stuff for the day and all of that jazz. Y'all know how all this stuff goes. Let's call it like casual Friday, okay, if you will, because you know it's Friday and all that stuff. I also want to give I also want to give a major shout out to my patrons while I got this thing up and going. My patrons on Patreon. That's right, like Laura Holton, Shaylee Watson, Jennifer Kroll, Noel Ohlheiler, Glenn Couch, Christopher Chalmers, Joseph Hines. All you guys really help things go and all that stuff. And of course, I've got the announcement hammering on for Decker Day. Guys, we're 8 days away. 8 days. 8 days from now. That is what we are going to be doing. We have 8 days left before Decker Day. And here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Decker Day. This is going to be, so far, we've got 13 or so tickets sold, but they're 13 family packs, which means we've got a body count pretty much assured that there's going to be a lot of people there having fun, checking out games, looking at homebrew stuff, and just having a good time for the day. If nothing else, hey, come for the food. You know what I'm talking about? It's a thing. And we are going to be having a paint and take, a terrain workshop, game demonstrations. We're also going to do a live recording of the Dark Side of the Room with our panel. And, you know, I say it's panel, you know, but we're really going to be like, this is like a barbershop talk, you know, we're just going to be sitting around talking with you guys, answering your questions, telling our stuff about, you know, our experiences as a nerd, as nerds of color, as nerds within all these different spaces, finding places, like, you know, it's going to be a good time. Not to mention, I got 8 or 9 tables at this point set up for demos and learn how to plays and all that stuff. So that's going to be some fun stuff. Again, that's Decker Day. You can find it on your Facebook under events. Just look for Decker Day and all that stuff. And you can even pay and register with the UPC. That is at Bono's Pizza in downtown Long Beach. And guess what? Your admission ticket covers your parking too. All right? I'm all about the value for money. How can I give as much as I can for as little as possible? So that is most definitely a thing. Let's see. So I got all that. Y'all know about the notebooks and stuff from tpublic.com, and guess what? Oh, we're having a 30% off sale right now. All right, 30% off stuff at TeePublic, which is pretty awesome. That means our $20 notebooks are going for $15. But really, let's be real. We're in the middle of a heat wave, so that means y'all need some t-shirts and tank tops just like I do. So $14 and you too can sport Back in the Deck merchandise. We have so many colors and all that stuff. And mine should be showing up after Decker Day so I can like sport my own merch, and that would be so cool. And again, for those of you guys that don't have dad bod like I do, we even got tank tops, all right? And seriously speaking, and this is a big one, all right guys, our tank tops come in a variety of colors. So if you happen to be one of those goth guys that are like blacker than the blackest black times infinity, then for $13, why not get one of our shirts or one of our t-shirts right here in black, and people can see, hey, look, he's got cards on his chest, and that is awesome. So that would be super awesome and all that stuff. So let's get to the show. So as you guys know, Friday is normally my long show. All right, this is the show where we make stuff. You guys have watched me make buildings, paint minis. I think I locked in one of you deckers out there when you guys saw me in 90 minutes just fast paint and get like an entire 750 point team for Grimdark Future. Just paint it, tabletop ready. It was good enough. Good enough to play with. Everybody knows the thing, so we can play with our toys, and boom, you know. And so I was working on today's show, and today's show I wanted to talk about facades. All right, facades are really great, and this goes to a lot of y'all out there that I know, that I love, and that I don't have something in common with. And that, I know, right? You're like, okay, who aren't you talking about at this point? By the way, shout outs to my people in the chat. Let me take a look at you guys. Who is here in the chat. Of course, we've got Black and White Now in Color, Lisbeth, Xanathates, is Nickable, Nintendo Switch XL. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is awesome. And I ain't gonna say no if y'all want to like throw me bits, but I get the feeling that I haven't said anything poignant or entertaining enough for bits, so I don't really push that. Anyway, but yeah, the thing that I know people and I love people and all that stuff, but the thing that I don't have in common with them are two things as far as miniature gaming goes. Thing one, I do not enjoy painting minis to be shrunken down versions of things that exist. Okay, real talk, I'm all Willy Wonka at that point. All right, like if I can make a resin person at 1/1 scale paint up all their stuff and then send it through a shrink ray, that would be awesome. Okay, and then people would be like, oh my god, the detail and the contrast and blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, I just shrank some dude, you know. It's okay, he was homeless. No, I'm kidding. But the thing that I do enjoy, believe it or not, is making terrain. Okay, I like making terrain, and this is why. When I was a kid, all right, I was a kid in the 80s, all right, and in the 1980s, every single commercial that kids saw was selling them toys. When I was a kid, like we looked at the Guess Who commercial yesterday, but in the 1980s, stuff was unfair. Okay, seriously unfair. And what was unfair about them? I'm gonna show you. All right, we gonna pull this out because it is really something that I'm kind of going, dude, that ain't right. That literally just ain't right. Toy commercials from the 80s and 90s. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so let me see if I can find some high quality ones. All right, because seriously, these things got on my nerves. Okay, seriously got on my nerves. And there's a reason for this. All right. And we gonna go through this and we gonna point them out. And this is gonna be like a real thing. All right. So let me see if I can find. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. So when I was a kid, right? What toy is this from? I don't know. This is like a playlist. So yeah, let's take a look. Okay. So when I was a kid, I had this thing going. Okay, I had this thing going.
Make no mistake.
So yeah, we got the Last Action Hero playset, right? Now, I want you guys to pay real close attention to everything that's going on here. All right? Got the dog. Wait, what's this? What's up with this playset? Okay, we got this whole playset going, and in the back he's got like a backdrop and stuff like that. So they're playing with their little toys, and they got these playset things, and they got all that going, and it falls down, and it's all interactive, you know. And I'm just like, dude, yeah, right, Xenothates? The toy commercials for things like Batman toys, like most action figures, okay, most action figures came in and they were like, dude, you want this, right? You want this. You don't just want all this. You want the toy, you want the playset, you want the background, you want that backyard. Like, you know, it's funny you bring up that thing. Let's take a look, all right? Because we got this thing going. And, you know, and we got Street Sharks, right? And look at what these guys are on. I know it's like really low res. Let's see if I can. It says it's in HD. You know, there's that 1080p, but yeah. So we got all that stuff. We got kids breaking through like all these other stuff, you know. But the one that was really, and you nailed it, Xenothates, was this. I mean, you got the Batman playset, and let's look at this. Let's seriously look at this. Let us take this down bit by bit by bit, all right? Because this is just, what is the term? This is just hurtful, all right? And when I say hurtful, I'm just like, dude, this is just not cool, all right? So let's take a real good look at this, all right? So over here, all right, you got the facade of Wayne Manor, and you've got like all that cool stuff, and then next to it, you got all that, but check it out right there. Batman Command Center and figures sold separately. Some assembly required, all right? And you're sitting up and you're like, wait a minute, whoa. Now, like I said, when I was growing up, I didn't have that much money growing up. My mom didn't have that much money. She was supporting, essentially, her father-in-law, her grandparents, and 4 boys, okay? And there was no dad in the house. So, was there money for toys? Not no. But, oh my God, no. Like, yeah, you know, you want toys? Here's a ream of paper, learn origami. That was the closest thing I had to toys. So, when I was a kid, you know, I saw these commercials, and I'm just like, oh, the dream. I was like, I was literally like Charlie Bucket. And, oh, there we go. Yeah, I was literally like Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you know, at Toys R Us or looking at these commercials, and I'm seeing all these kids play with all this expensive stuff, and I'm going home and I'm hearing some really nice lady who washes clothes for a living going, cheer up, Solar, don't you despair. And I'm like, shut up, lady. I don't have any toys for all that stuff, and it gets me my butt kicked at school every day. And then I would go to like the swap meet, which was essentially the long line of Korean knockoff stores that we had in LA before the riots of '92, right? And we didn't have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We had Reptile Fighters, which were essentially, you know, recasts and off sculpts. But when it comes to looking at the toys, I was like, you know, I have a big enough imagination, right? But check this out. All right, just check this whole thing out. You got all that stuff going, blah blah blah, Batcave sold separately and all that jazz. But look at this, okay? This is not just a toy. When you go to the store, you get the toy, right? You get the toy, you get him, oh, look at me, I got all that stuff. But you don't get all that plant life around him. You know, you gotta buy those plants and all that stuff. And I don't know about you, but if I was playing with my toys like that and my mom's house plants, yeah, I was gonna be losing those toys, you know? At least losing them toys. You know, growing up, it'd be like, boy, what you doing with all that stuff? But yeah, they're sitting up around all these ferns and like so many play sets, you know, so many play sets came about. And having the toys are cool, but again, some of the things I saw on TV was just like killing me. It was like such a bad influence. And then I learned about the model train enthusiast, right? And when I think it was like 1987, and I saw Beetlejuice for the first time. And essentially, Alec Baldwin had like a whole miniature set of the town. And I'm like, that is awesome. How'd he do it? Where'd he get the stuff and all that stuff? So when I started playing tabletop miniatures games, and I'll be frank with y'all, the very first tabletop miniature game I ever tried was called Mage Knight. It was the forerunner to HeroClix. And I was working at a comic book store, and WizKids were sending out samples. And I was playing, and it was like, dude, if you don't got terrain, then that salt and pepper shaker, that works. That teacup, that works. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a game that you play with action figures that literally use the same rules I was using growing up. So that was kind of cool, you know? So I've been learning, you know, and again, then came film school. Then came working in the Universal Art Department, and I'm watching all of these super talented artists make X-Wing fighters and T-800s and all that stuff, but really they're doing it out of specialized materials, but the most specialized stuff that I saw them use was fiberglass and silicone. And I'm like, fiberglass? That ain't a mystery. They sell that down at the AutoZone. You know, and the Pet Boys, you know, and these guys taught me that all movie magic is taking a bunch of garbage and upcycling it into something cool, and I was hooked. I was hooked, you know. And then when I got into miniature wargaming 10, 11 years later, you know, I would go to like the Games Workshop store, and I would see all this great looking terrain, and then I saw the price tag. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all hear me talk a lot of crap on Games Workshop, and I do, okay? I don't like their business practices, I don't like their models, and I don't like the level of toxicity that they've cultivated within their community in the US. But their stuff looks so good. Oh my God, it looks really, really, really good. Not for the price tag, but it looks really good. And I love their miniature stuff. I love the Gothic Cathedral looking stuff, the Necromunda stuff. Just not for what they're charging, you know. I like going into my friends' piles of shames going, man, you know you ain't never gonna paint this. And putting the stuff together, you know. And I got the whole play sets and I got all that stuff going, and that's fun. But a lot of my friends don't always have terrain they want to part with, because someday they're going to paint their stuff and they're going to play with their stuff, and that someday has been coming for 10, 11, 12 years. I ain't shaming. I just know that one day may come, and, you know, they paid for it, so I can't be like, no, let me take your stuff. So I make the stuff myself, and this is the show where I show you guys how to do it yourself. And today I was going to do a thing on facades, okay? Pre-preparing facade and using that stuff. But this was also going to be the day where I use the more specialized equipment, specifically my Proxxon wire cutter and my gate, my little gate. You know what? I am so there with you. What was it? I think my one of our guys, Carthulu, and I, we used to talk about making food safe molds out of our terrain and then pouring chocolate for War Machine when we played. So when your jack busted through a wall, you know, that would be kind of fun. So yeah, I'm really right there, you know. But when you're making facades, especially out of styrofoam, it's really important to get super, super, super thin cuts. Now, there's lots of ways to do facades, but I had done most of my prep work over the past 2 days for today's show, and the last bit taken away right before we were supposed to go live. My last cuts. This is why I was a little late today. So, but I do want to talk about facades because, quite honestly, putting a facade on something is really, really easy, and it is the essence making terrain. Now I'm going to show you guys something. I will be right back. I got to go grab something from the other side of the studio, just to show you guys this. I'll be back in just a sec. So I wanted to grab this because I made this from inspiration from a YouTube channel that I watch called Narb Makes, right? And this is a centerpiece for a grimdark game. All right, this is a great big warehouse. Look at this. Oh, warehouse. And what we've got here, okay, I know it's a great big square building. I've got like the helipads and stuff on top, and this is to put other pieces of terrain, but just to give me some elevation. All right. And what we've got here is I made a little window here out of a piece of cardboard. I used some drywall tape here, and I'm just gluing on shapes to a box. All right, this is it. This is it a piece of terrain, or is it a box with a bunch of facading? Okay, this little panel I got right here, this little panel, you know, that literally is just some random shapes that I cut out and, you know, did that. I'm eventually going to get around to painting this, but like here, there we go. Boom. Love this. All right. I specifically love these things right here because I think those came off of like apple juice or something, but they look all futuristic, and I can glue what they call in the craft world some greebles to the top of it. You know, actually, no, this has a bottom. Again, it's a box. All right. However, you are on the right track, because the reason I put this way is because the top of it pops off and I can keep the rest of the board in here. Okay. So I take out my stuff. I put the top back on it. And I put a couple of crates. Okay, and some cars. And there we go. I have a little thing to play. A grimdark game. I can play my you know, I can play anything that requires stuff like War Machine, or like, ooh, I think we hit something. Yeah. And again, I just boom to carry stuff. And in case you guys are wondering, all right, and this is really important, most of the terrain I make because I live 20 miles away from my nearest gaming store and 25 miles away from my closest friend that I can play these games with. And I don't always have access to a car. I ride a motorcycle primarily. So oh, check my video feed. Oh yeah, no, I did hit something. Haha, thank you. Yeah, I'm back. So, but yeah, so quite honestly, I put all this stuff together because I want to be able to put an entire at least 3x3 gaming table together with stuff that I can fit in my backpack, because I prefer modular terrain over a board. And I'll tell you why. We talked about this stuff a bit yesterday. You see, with Mage Knight, it was a really fun game. All right, it really was. It was a fun game, and it used it was a really fun game, and it used a lot of standard terrain. However, HeroClix used a grid. All right, a grid system, a grid map. Let me put this up. All right, and it was great for the game, especially since the game was specifically meant for children. Okay, but we all know how that goes. Let me see if I can find one, just one. There we go, like the RLC stuff. Okay. Yes, finally. Looking for this for days. And no, stop telling me I can get coupons. All right. So, and this stuff looks very cool. All right, we got all this stuff and it's on a grid, and this grid comes with 1.5-inch squares so that it can fit the bases of the clicks. All right, and that's really cool. It's a thing, 16 by 24-inch grid, right? So it's a 2-foot by 3-foot board essentially. So this is cool, and it's $30. The problem that I have with it is that this is a different type of terrain. This is the starting area. This is hindering terrain. This is blocking terrain. And it's static. Okay, it is absolutely static. And the thing is, there are a ton of different boards, but there's no variation. There's no changing. And when your friends play HeroClix in tournament, or any of your friends play games in the tournament style, i.e. The quickest way to victory and all that other stuff, memorizing a fixed board is inevitable by your 5th or 6th game on it. And it turns the game from one thing to a race to the biggest advantage point that everybody knows. All right. And a lot of the times habits get formed, like, I'm going to be playing on this table, therefore I'm going to need this team with this loadout all the time. So I'm a big fan of modular terrain. Okay, I love modular terrain. I love scatter terrain specifically because it can change from game to game to game. But there's a downside to a modular board, which is, how am I gonna carry all this crap? You know, like most mini gamers, as you guys know, have the pile of shame with all the miniatures they haven't painted, and most gaming clubs and gaming stores have the under the table plastic containers full of all this terrain. We've all seen it if we've gone to a store, and if you haven't gone to a store, you'll be able to just go to like a Games Workshop store or your local brick and mortar that's locally owned by another gamer, and if they actually have tables for mini wargaming on any level, you'll see that there's all this flimsy-ish plastic terrain that has all these sharp edges, or cardboard terrain, or pink foam terrain, and they have them in those boxes and storage containers which is awesome if you're a homeowner or a store owner. But if you live in an apartment with roommates, how do you store it? How do you carry it? You know, where are you gonna get all the space and stuff that you need for those things? So I find that easily stored scatter terrain is my bag all the way across the board, because I've only been a homeowner for a year. So, and honestly, I do have those plastic tub containers, but I only have 2 of them. And those 2 give me access to a ton of different boards because of the back in the deck terrain method, which you'll see if you go to Decker Day. And really, it is really a means to store stuff and carry stuff. If my friends say, hey, you want to get a game in, I'll be like, I'll be there in like a half an hour, but I'll have to grab my minis, grab some terrain, grab the dice and the measurement tools and all that stuff, and figure out a way to carry them on the back of a motorcycle on the freeway or the expressway, depending on where you're from. All right, so that is one of the things. So we're back to the whole facade thing. Putting together a good facade. All right. Let's be real. All right. Let's look at some stuff in the real world. Think about a house. Okay, just think about a house. Really, what a house is a box that has a bunch of smaller boxes in it, with a couple of holes in it and a facade. Those facades can be shingles or stucco or paneling, but really it's just creative ways of hiding the fact that you're in a box. All right, and yeah, the box that you live in has pipes and stuff in it. Sometimes they got stairs on the outside, so you can go from the box on the ground to the box on top of a box. But when I'm thinking about this in this manner, I'm like, cool, so how can I decorate boxes? And again, I had this whole thing planned for you guys on making your own facades, and storing facades, and then gluing the facades onto boxes that come in the mail or that you can get from like a craft store and stuff like that. Or heck, the post office. You know, so many different ways that you can put facades on boxes to make them both terrain pieces and way to carry your stuff. All right. So I guess we're gonna have to get to that next week. All right. But this week, and yeah, I'm doing a short episode because I got to get in there and fix my Proxxon. And I also wanted to show you guys these things. Now, if you are into 3D printing like I am, these texture rollers are gold. All right, they are gold, and they cut your time by so much. All right, and you can buy them on Green Stuff World, but if you have a 3D printer, I'm gonna leave a link on the Discord and in the Deckers on the Book where you can download the STLs and print these rollers yourself. Although I might make a couple of modifications to them because they hurt. And yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I have quite a few from Green Stuff World, and oh my god, those were the first ones I bought, and they are amazing. Okay, especially if you're working with clay. They're actually made to work with clay and stuff like Sculptamold, I think, or what is that, air dry clay, and they're really great for basing stuff. But they also work pretty well on insulation foam. Okay, if you can get it in thin enough sheets. All right, extruded polystyrene is great, but I'll tell you, with these rollers that I printed up from Thingiverse, and I'm leaving a link to the guy who puts them together. I do have to wear my motorcycle riding gloves to get enough downward force into the foam and not my hands. But honestly, they save so much time and so much effort, and oh man, they're so awesome. Now, the stuff I still have from the Green Stuff World is the cobblestone, because you can never go wrong with cobblestone ground. I've got the Cthulhu stuff because why not, madness? And all of that stuff is really, really neat. I haven't started working with air dry clay and stuff because as much as I love making terrain, I don't like tying up my kitchen, and I live in Southern California. Right now, it's 80 degrees outside and I just got a wildfire warning. So turning on the oven is not exactly the business right now, you know? If I can find some of my old Corningware from the 80s, which was essentially glass that you baked in, and just put some air dry clay on top of that stuff and put the thing on top, I might be able to sunbake them. I don't know. That is an experiment worth trying eventually, but not today. Like I said, my stuff came down, so we're doing a little shorter show. But I wanted to just have you guys really think when it comes to making terrain and stuff like that. The best place that I found to start is not with ruined buildings in that L shape. That if you've seen anyone play Warhammer 40k or any Grimdark game, you know what I'm talking about. And of course, on this show over the years, you've seen me make cargo containers and stuff like that. But decorating boxes, you know, how can you make a box look like a different kind of building? And you don't have to do what I do and figure out how to make the box look cool and still carry stuff. You know, that ain't necessary. Okay? But how can you make a box like this was a box I got from Amazon, and I'm like, cool, I can carry this stuff. I can put my minis in it, especially since I've started doing the magnetized minis on the metal plate. And it's a really cool way to make sure that I can carry things and play. It's really neat. But how can you guys? What materials can you guys think of putting on that are cheap, relatively fast? I'll tell you, the main stuff that I use, right, is the dollar foam core stuff that you get from DD's and Big Lots and the 99-cent only store. You know, not the serious, I go to the art store and get the foam core. I'm talking that stuff that you see in a bodega. All right, I use that stuff. Drywall tape. I use drywall tape a lot more than granny grading because it's easier for me to get. Excuse me. And honestly, cardboard. You know, cardboard. Shouts out to you, Wylock. And I really like using XPS foam. Okay, I really do. I like using XPS foam. And the Home Depot, the Lowe's near my house finally started carrying the the inch stuff in the 8x4 sheets again, because they've been selling it in the 2x2 sheets, and I've been making do with what I got. I still don't have access to the 2-inch thick and the 4-inch thick like people outside of California do, but you know, all in time. But yeah, so honestly, when it comes to all of this jazz, what materials can you use to make a box look awesome? Okay, or at least make a box look different. All right. But I will tell you, next week, I'll probably do 2 shows of Hobby Haul next week. One, just showing the types of materials that we can use. All right, for those of y'all, and if you know, those of you guys that really know, Pringles are the official snack of crafters, especially for minis crafters. I think I remember like a year or 2 years ago, there was this big challenge on YouTube at who could make terrain out of water guns, and it was all fun and stuff like that. It was a thing. But it really is out there to get the juices flowing, to show that you don't need specialized equipment all the time. I was using my specialized equipment this week, and I want you guys to take today's episode as sort of a cautionary tale. When you start getting bound by your tools, you know, the hot wire cutters, the hot glue guns that are specialty things that you spent $60 or $70 at your local big box store to get, that has the perfect tip, you know, all that stuff. When you get bound up by stuff like that, when it breaks, what do? Okay. I know you guys have never really watched me use that stuff here because I don't want y'all getting caught up in that either. Okay. But next week we're gonna talk about some stuff like Mod Podge. I really like. Okay. But when I don't have Mod Podge, I use wood glue. It's a thing. But when I run out of Mod Podge, what can I do with this bottle? You know, what can I do with these coffee pods? What can I do with pill bottles? Those are all great things for crafting terrain and stuff with. And you don't have to spend $100,000 on Amazon. A good amount of the time, all you really got to do is take what you got, stick it together and put a miniature next to it, and you might find out you got something going. All right. With that, I gotta say thank you guys for showing up. And like I said, I'm gonna get back to fixing my Proxxon, and if I can get the cameras working properly, I might film a little something. And yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for showing up. Major shouts out to Xanathades for being here and talking with us, along with Black and White Now in Color, Lizbeth, Sega Dream. Hey, what's going on? You know, welcome to the channel, by the way. Most of the gaming stuff we deal with are tabletop games and miniature making and modeling and all that stuff. But you know what? Video gamers are just as much gamers as anyone else. So if you're looking for somewhere where you fit in and people go, oh, you do this, tell me about it, I really want to hear your point of view, you're here. Welcome. And thank you guys. It is Friday, so we will be back on the air come Monday. And remember, we got 8 days until Decker Day. So if you are in Southern California, all right, we're talking the greater Los Angeles area, Orange County, San Bernardino County. Come on down to downtown Long Beach, you know, beautiful fountain there at the location, and come on down to Decker Day, you know, seriously. Again, we're going to have a paint and take. We're going to do some terrain workshopping. This is probably why I was putting together the facade stuff, because I might actually have some facades out for really cheap at Decker Day for people that are like, well, I want to make miniatures, but I don't want to get involved with all of that jazz and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's the stuff that you guys can do. And yeah, again, tickets are $50, but that includes all of the free stuff that you're getting, all of the demos, the paint and take, the terrain materials for the workshop, and of course, parking and food. All right, that is seriously what we're putting together. We still, and of course, we still have sponsors. So major thanks to Mr. Russell and Mr. McCann for putting up a couple of things for sponsorships, so that kids from Watts, Compton, and stuff whose parents are like, I don't know, that's a whole lot. You know, they're making it so that we can get more people in. But with that, I gotta say thank you guys. And if anybody tells you that you can't have the hobbies you like for whatever reason, you know, your financial status, your circumstances of birth, all that stuff, you can just tell them to stop pulling cards on you and put them back in the deck. All right. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me today on the Hobby Hall, and we will see you guys next time.